starts with breaking news.
We do have breaking news just into our newsroom this morning. One person is in the hospital after an early morning crash. Officers were called to 72nd and Harrison just before 6:30 this morning. Dispatchers tell us the person's injuries are considered serious. We do have a photographer headed out to the scene to the crash right now. We will be sure to update you on air and online as soon as we get more information.
All right, good Monday morning. It is great to have you with us as we start our First Alert 6 streaming. I'm Erin Hartley.
And I'm Cerise Cole, and this is meteorologist Jared Lansford, Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord, who has some really cold temperatures to talk about, the coldest of the season.
Yeah, easily the coldest of the season, coldest we've been since February, so we're down in the teens. We haven't been this cold since February 22nd. Went and looked back at the numbers. 19 right now with a northwest wind about 6 miles per hour. Feels like 11. So that's the biggest thing. Any breeze whatsoever drops that wind chill down. You can see how widespread around the city, pretty close to 20 degrees. Some a little above, some a little below. And again, this is just how much it can vary on the map when we're zoomed in close like this. So 5 degrees difference across the city. And take a little wider view, you can see how the temperatures are colder yet. Norfolk, Columbus, and York all down to 12 right now. So winds, again, they're not that strong. Up near 7-8 miles per hour at worst. So these numbers aren't fed by some very strong winds. All it takes is this light wind to drop our wind chill down into the single digits in a few spots. You can see there was a little stripe of clouds in our area, some more high clouds to the west. Pretty good snow going across Indiana, Illinois, some lake effect snow bands extending into Chicago off of Lake Michigan. So it could be an interesting commute there. For us, we just have this little stripe of clouds. It was holding the temperature up a little bit more. High clouds coming in from the west and not much of a breeze to deal with. I showed you those winds. We could get a few gusts out of the north up to 10, 15 miles per hour. Then it'll be a southwest wind this afternoon. Again, gusting 10 to 15. Here's the deal, though. It will help to start the warm-up anyway. So we're in the 20s most of the morning. We get you up towards lunch, and we're looking at numbers in the 30s, low to mid-30s by noon. High clouds drifting through by 3 o'clock. And that's probably our high today of about 38 the way it looks. Some 40s off to the southwest, trying to warm up a little bit. But it's likely going to be tomorrow before those really filter in. Then by 7 o'clock tonight, we're down to 31. We'll kind of bounce around a little bit this evening. But by 10 to 11 o'clock, we'll dip down into the 20s and then start to climb as the clouds really thicken up overnight. Those will act like a blanket, hold some of the warmth. So by early tomorrow morning, when we typically have our coldest part of the day, it'll actually be starting to warm with 36 by 7 o'clock and some thick clouds overhead. We get rid of those and get a pretty comfortable Veterans Day. 63 for the afternoon high with 61 on Wednesday. Again, some clouds moving through each and every day, but a lot of these high clouds, and that kind of sets the stage there for a pretty good stretch heading into the middle of the week.
Yeah, good stretch indeed, because as we get past Wednesday, it's going to get even better.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those are the 3 days to watch on the forecast because those have shown signs of warming, and they continue to be the days that might have the wind in our favor, the right combo of sunlight at the right time of the day. Notice 53 is the average. We're going to be up near 70 by Friday. I would not be surprised if that goes a little bit warmer, and even into Saturday as well. The one thing to watch heading towards the weekend would be the lone rain chance. It's not really there until the weekend. Some clouds moving through. There's Friday. That's why we're a little reluctant to go too much warmer on Friday because of the clouds that'll be building in Friday, and there's going to be some clouds around Saturday as well. But Saturday evening is the next potential for any rain that could impact our area. And this has been actually zipping through quicker and quicker and quicker on model, so it's something we'll have to watch Saturday night into Sunday to see if it can hold true, and then should be pretty quiet even to the early part of next week. So the 10-day forecast, like I mentioned, pretty good starting tomorrow afternoon. We'll climb up near 70 on Friday. Could get close on Saturday. Again, clouds are going to play a factor in this with highs a little closer to where they should be by early next week in the 50s. But again, a very nice stretch. I mentioned it. Any cold snaps, they're brief. They're not going to be all that bad, but this is the coldest air we've had for a while.
Just the difference between these two weekends, last weekend and this upcoming one, is pretty crazy.
It's going to be wild. The temperature swings this time of year. Like I said, very fast weather pattern with some big changes that I think we're going to probably keep into winter.
Thanks.
At least it's short, right? Nice short cold snap. All right, let's get to that crash we were telling you about at the top of the hour. We're learning more about exactly where it is.
Yeah, so it's right around the closure 72nd to 66. So the crash in between those two areas. So you want to use caution in this area. So you're going to see my graphic, it says 66. It's more so right around here where the crash is in place. You can see how things are slowing down here. This is where your closure is in place as you're approaching this area heading westbound. We have that information from our photographer that's on the scene. So that's what you're running into here. So you've got the closure eastbound just past 72nd, and then westbound is right at 66th where you're going to get detoured. So as you head into this area, you're going to want to try to avoid that if you can. Your option here is to use Q as your east-west travel route. I know there's not a ton of options for alternate routes, but that's the best one that you have, and we'll continue to keep you posted on this. Again, that crash is between 66th and 72nd with Harrison closed in both directions as you're getting into that area. So we'll keep you posted on the latest with that. A couple of other things I'm watching early this morning. Center Street, we were having all kinds of difficulties last week with that construction zone here with some varying lane restrictions. A little slow right near Saddle Creek right now. We're holding up a little bit better than what we were last week, at least so far. I'll keep an eye on this. This is going to be in place into early next week. And then I want to touch on this, give you the first alert that we are looking at Western closed between 75th, 76th. Yeah, that's a short stretch, but this is right near Creighton Prep. And it's unclear just when today this starts. So this could be something you run into this morning and have to deal with. So they'll be in place the next 10 days. You're going to want to try to work your way around that, plan accordingly for that road to be closed. Otherwise, just kind of picking up the traffic on other roads. You can see at Dodge with a couple slow spots around 90th, 72nd, where we're getting things a little bit busier, mostly moving along pretty well through much of the rest of the metro. We'll keep you posted on the latest with that Harrison crash. So that's a pretty big impact in that area.
Okay, Jared, thank you. To news now, the government shutdown could soon be ending. Last night, the Senate voted to break a filibuster on a bill to fund the government through the end of January. The bill now has to pass a formal vote in the Senate and make it through the House before it gets to President Trump's desk. Sources tell CNN the vote came after several Democrats reached a deal to reopen the government in exchange for a vote on health care subsidies next month. Also, in that same deal, rehiring some federal employees and ensuring that staff benefits are funded through September of next year. Nebraska Representative Don Bacon had been working on a bipartisan framework for a bill to end the shutdown. He says that framework has been part of a larger discussion on Capitol Hill.
In an exclusive interview with First Alert 6, he says one of the goals of passing the spending bill is to get airports operating normally again, since many airports are dealing with staffing shortages.
When you increase unsafety or make the airways more dangerous, it is wrong. And this is indefensible in my view.
Nebraska Senator Pete Ricketts commenting on the bipartisan deal, saying in part, quote, Republicans have been consistent. We've offered a bipartisan funding resolution that Democrats have previously voted to pass 4 times over the last 19 months, end quote. Ricketts also urged lawmakers to pass the bipartisan solution without delay.
All right, over here at the Safety Desk now with Maria Cade. Maria, more than 38 million people in this country live with diabetes. And the CDC says that many adults with this disease are actually undiagnosed.
Yeah, a lot of people, but early detection and treatment is really critical to preventing any dangerous medical complications that could come from having diabetes. So diabetes causes a person's blood sugar to spike because their body can't make or use enough insulin to regulate it. Now, diabetes complications can include cardiovascular disease, kidney damage or failure, as well as nerve damage. Some of the early warning signs you want to look out for: frequent urination, extreme thirst, and blurry vision. Now, there are 2 different types. So type 1 diabetes causes the patient's immune system to attack the body, and that stops its ability to make insulin. But type 2 diabetes, it's actually most often diagnosed in adults, but experts say having a healthy lifestyle can lower that risk of developing it.
Yeah. All right, Maria Cade, thank you very much. We're back after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We are taking a live look outside. Sure hope your morning's getting off to a good start. And listen, it is a chilly start today. You could probably feel the chill in your house. There's definitely a huge chill in the air. Let's check in with Senior Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord, who's tracking the temps for us, because this is by far the coldest day of the week.
Don't want you to step outside and just be shocked and go, oh boy. Yeah. So it's even colder than we had yesterday morning. Only got down in the mid-20s yesterday. We have teens on the map right now, so it's another chilly start out there. Much warmer, though, the rest of the week. And you probably wait until this weekend before we get some rain chances back in play. A pretty dry week ahead for us all. Temperatures range anywhere from 17 in Fremont and Murdoch up to 22 in Millard and Blair. So 5-degree difference as you're driving around the metro area this morning. And, well, it's pretty uniform as you go outside this city with a lot of teens, but notice Norfolk, Columbus, and York down to 12. So it is a cold morning out there. Winds pretty light out of the northwest, and it does look like we will see just enough wind to drop the wind chill back into the single digits in many spots. So it's a cold morning all the way around. Had a little cloud cover overnight that moved through, that held the number up just a little bit anyway, but first alert forecast takes us up to 38 for the high today. We'll fall back to near 30 around 10, 11 o'clock, and then clouds increase tonight, and then we'll start to climb. So clouds can play a big factor in temperatures in these cold months, because it traps any heat that the earth is emitting and can bump our air temperature up a little bit. And that should be the last of the really frigid mornings for a while. We'll get back up near 40 for some morning lows beyond that, and even Saturday morning's low with that surge of warmth in the 50s. So it's going to be a warm stretch where our low may end up being warmer than our high temperature typically is later on this week. First alert forecast for tomorrow shows you we go to 63 after the chilly start. So it's going to be a much better Veterans Day on the way as this core of the colder air moves off towards the east and we get a nice surge of warmth here for the end of the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday brings a little push of some cooler air. Kind of get grazed by that one though, and we should stay pretty mild into the early part of next week, just getting back closer to where we typically are this time of year. So look at that. Veterans Day 63, 61 on Wednesday, 64 on Thursday, right up near 70 on Friday. So we're looking at a pretty mild stretch of weather after we get through today with temperatures that should warm up significantly from this morning.
Okay. Yeah, thank goodness indeed. Let's talk more about that warm up even heading into the next weekend as well.
Yeah, so you want to know, does it last? This is the time of year when we think, when's the next cold blast and when's our first chance of snow trying to show up on the forecast? And well, we don't really have either one of those right now. You can see some changes with our temperatures Saturday into Sunday. It does look like Saturday night rain with that. Temperature outlook then beyond. Again, we just took you through the 10-day forecast. This goes for a full 2 weeks from today, and it's that second week of those two. Warmer than average is what we're leaning to. Could even have a little more busy pattern next week with opportunities for some rain. Of course, that time of year you got to watch out for some snow, and we got some of that over Chicago, Indianapolis, so we're missing out on that one. We'll see if we're lucky or unlucky on the next bout too.
All right, we know you're on it. Keep us updated. Rusty, thank you. Meanwhile, Jared has an update on the crash we were telling you about that's affecting traffic near Harrison.
Yeah, so it's between about 66th and 72nd. We still are looking at impacts in both directions to this. So here's what we're looking at, and you can see that it's right in the middle of those two intersections where we have this. So westbound, eastbound, both still blocked. You're going to need to avoid this area for the time being with that crash being in place there. So where do you go? Well, there's the closure. You can see it's technically at La Vista Drive and 66th Street, but that's just past 72nd. I would encourage you to use Q as your alternate route here, and that's for eastbound and westbound travel. That'll be your best option in this area. Hopefully soon we'll be able to open Harrison up, and we'll continue to give you updates here with the latest on what we're seeing. That crash scene still active at this point, and we'll be continuing to update you as we get more of those details. We do have a photographer on the scene that's kind of surveying the situation, so we'll have those details here as those come in. Otherwise, when you get past to that area right around Harrison, we're looking at a pretty smooth start to the commute. Just starting to get some delays northbound on the JFK as you get right in your I-80. You've also got a couple of other spots that are just a little bit slow. 144th around Millard Avenue showing some signs of delays there. And then Blair High on either side of 680 is just a little bit slow, but nothing that's a major problem for us. Did mention that water main break overnight in Council Bluffs. That was right around 24th Street and 5th Avenue. You want to watch for a few slick spots that could be in place there. We were talking about how cold it is, and there was plenty of water that was spilled. We had that checked out just a little bit ago by our photographer, and it was mostly muddy, but the longer that's there, maybe you could see some more icy spots develop. So keep an eye out for that. Again, that's in Council Bluffs around 24th and 5th, but mostly pretty smooth travel outside of that road closure on Harrison due to that crash. And we'll keep you posted, and we'll send out a push alert here on our news app when we do get that road fully reopened.
All right, Jarrett, thank you. We do have an update now to a story we have been following.
Omaha police have confirmed a man wanted in connection to 2 shootings in the metro from late last month is now dead after a standoff in Mississippi. OPD tells us that Ricardo Kirk was wanted by the police. Now, one of the shootings from October 29th claimed the life of his cousin, 27-year-old Leonard Jones. Last week, OPD's fugitive unit working with the U.S. Marshals learned that Kirk was in Mississippi. The task force tried serving an arrest warrant for Kirk when they say he fired shots at them and barricaded himself inside of a home. Authorities then confirmed that Kirk died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Well, some welcome relief for those in Wahoo. City officials have lifted the boil order that was in place for almost a week, a day sooner than expected. The city's utility manager says that special samples came back negative for E. coli. Residents there and in the nearby areas no longer need to boil your water or have to use bottled water. The boil advisory was issued last Tuesday after E. coli was found in the samples of the city's water system. A couple days later, the order was extended through today at the earliest. We're back after this. Halloween now behind us. Some people are trying to figure out what to do with their leftover pumpkins.
Well, a family farm in North Carolina is putting those leftovers to gourd use. Luna Family Farms takes donated pumpkins and gives them to their animals such as goats, chickens, pigs, sheep, and geese. Ooh. And look, they love them. The farm's owner says not only do the animals enjoy the gourds, but it's also a good way to recycle. After Christmas, people can also donate their live trees if they haven't been sprayed with any chemicals. The goats, well, they love those too, just like pumpkins. What don't the goats love?
You know,
He's
pumpkins-
tearing that up.
Pumpkins are really good for all of us. They're good for people. They're good for dogs. They're good for obviously all the farm animals too.
The squirrels in my neighborhood are taking care of mine.
Oh yeah.
Just leaving bits and pieces everywhere.
Yeah,
but
tearing them up.
They enjoy
Tearing
them.
those pumpkins up.
That was a fun surprise. I thought we were going to have smashing pumpkins happening, but
Not this time.
not this time.
Yeah, see? All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
All right. Have a great start to your Monday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Breaking this morning, new details on breaking news we are following.
That's right. You're taking a live look in the area of 72nd and Harrison, where a second person has been taken to the hospital after this crash. Officers are called to 72nd and Harrison just before 6:30 this morning. Our photographer, who's at the scene right now, saw at least 2 cars were involved. We're waiting to hear more details regarding the extent of their injuries as well as what caused this crash. We'll let you know as soon as we know something in this breaking news story.
We want to get right to Jared Lansford, who's tracking the impacts of this crash. Jared?
You could see there was a busy situation with the detours that are in place. Between 66th and 72nd is where we have this crash. So you have the closure right in that same stretch, and you're going to have to avoid that area until that scene gets completely worked. You can see 72nd slowing down quite a bit right near Harrison. Using Q for east-west travel is going to be your best option here to get through this part of the metro. Keep in mind that there's going to be just kind of a generally congested and a little bit slow as people try to navigate that area. But Harrison remains closed between 66th and 72nd. Keep in mind right near 72nd L, you've also got some impacts as that project continues to be underway. Rusty.
Thanks, Jared. A little chilly out there this morning, to say the least, down in the teens and 20s as you step out. So you'll want the heaviest coat you've got, as you have 19 with a feels like temperature of 11. It has not been this cold since February of earlier this year. So we are chilly. 17 in Fremont, one of the colder numbers, 22 in Millard, 20 in Glenwood, 20 in Trainer right now, and not much of a breeze, but any wind whatsoever. We're not gusting too strong, but any light breeze puts those wind chills down in the single digits in some spots. So it is cold all the way around. The good news is we'll rebound pretty quickly today, just not a lot. 38 for the afternoon high and warmer days to follow.
All right, everybody, try to stay warm out there. It is 7:28. We're back with another update in 25 minutes. We'll see you then. Whenever you are, man.
Take your time, though. Oh, all right, cool. Let's do it. I count this one, I think, right? All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone. A chilly start out there with a light north breeze. It becomes southwest this afternoon, and that will help warm us up. But we're in the 20s for a while this morning, climbing to 34 by noon, up to 38 for the high today. Just a little subtle breeze out there as we go through the course of the day, and 32 by 6 o'clock.
First Alert 6 weather forecast is sponsored by CHI Health.
First alert to the coldest day of the week, 38 for the high this afternoon, then up to 63 on Tuesday, 61 on Wednesday. So a pretty mild Veterans Day after a chilly start. You can see where we're going across the city today, really struggling to get to 40 degrees.
Now, First Alert 6 weather.
Coldest day of the week to first alert you to today. Upper 30s for an afternoon high, likely falling just short of 40 degrees in most spots, but you may get a car thermometer that reads 40 degrees later on. Veterans Day looking pretty good after the chilly start, up to 63, 61 on Wednesday, 70 on Friday. Watch Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those 3 days have potential to go a little bit warmer. All depends on cloud cover, and then we'll cool it off a little bit, but still back closer to where we should be by early next week.